Welcome again to my YouTube channel. It was Saturday, October the 9th, 2021 in Las Vegas, Nevada. What people will be talking about in years to come as one of the greatest heavyweight title matchup of all time. Notice I said title matchup. There's been a lot of great fights, knockdown and drag-outs. I was in one with Ron Lyle, but it was not a title match. This was a title match between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. The evidence, who won the boxing match? You don't have to ask the judges. The evidence was presented plainly. One man was counted out, and the other was joyful in celebrating. Who were the losers? No one. The audience in Las Vegas, the audience on pay-per-view, even worldwide, we all had something to cheer and pull for. We saw each man go down, dig in deep, and get back up. No one wanted to lose. But with all great fights, someone had to lose. That's what made it great. People will say, well, if they, if it, that's great. All of that goes along with great title match. If the guy had trained longer, if the guy had got up the second time, if the guy had if the count had been slower or longer, all of those ifs goes with championship boxing matches. I'm just so happy that I lived long enough to see the past come alive again. It was like something out of the past. Great heavyweight fights. Two giants of all things. Two giants, both with willingness to continue fighting after being knocked down. Who would have won if it had gone 12 rounds? All of those things goes into the mapping of a great fight. I'm so happy that Deontay Wilder gave his all. Boy, what a right hand. He never gave up on his right hand. Tyson Fury never gave up, period. And when he went down, it was just to say, I gotta get up. I just gotta keep getting up. That's what won the boxing match for him. And what I'm also really proud of was one of the best referees I'd ever seen. This man didn't take any holding behind the head, any hitting below the belt. He came out and called those big guys out and said, no, we're not going to have it. It was probably the best job of refereeing, one of the best I've ever seen. What a great fight. Who do you give it to? The winner. It's in camera, in photographs, in movies now. A great fight. Now, I just hope that in the future we can see such great fights again. You can stop talking about George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, Jack Johnson. For the time being, we can put those names out because Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder have taken their rightful spot in the present. The future seems to be bright now with heavyweight boxing. Thank you for tuning in. This is George Foreman.
Peace and Pugilism. Fight Fanatics is Myron Magnus, and this is Boxing Logics United. Please subscribe. There was the great George Foreman. Respects to his channel. Please subscribe to the George Foreman Boxing channel. Like I have, I'm sharing this video from his channel because I don't want anybody to think I'm being disrespectful. So I wanted to acknowledge that and disclose that here up front in the video. And I wanted to just add a little bit on to what he said, which I felt pertained directly to me. You know, every era is different. And this era of boxing is much different than the era I grew up in. Some might say it's less skilled, less this, less that. I understand. And I agree with many of you in pertaining to some particular things in that. I definitely do. But we mustn't let, how I say this, we must let this next generation thrive in their glory as well. I think that's the best way I can put it, and the most honest way I can put it. We must let this generation thrive in their glory as well. You know, because every generation had their influences, every generation had their inspirations, and those influences and inspirations was inspired by generations before them. But things might have been left out, things might have been changed, things are different. And the number one difference is technology. Okay? So, as technology changes, so does, therefore, the language and then the landscape. And this pertains to the beginning of time to today. We still have to compare the eras because that's how we make ourselves better. So I'm not going to stop doing that. But what I am going to start doing is comparing the eras on a fair basis of what's going on in that time, because each era was different and what was going on, what contributed to it, what did not contribute to it, and what created the people in that era. And that was just, which was different from what created the people in the other era. So it's all about being fair. Fair to all. How we should be. So we could teach all how we're supposed to be. This is Marvin Magnus. Peace and pugilism.